Welcome back to the S&T podcast. We're going over another SEC game this week. Now, first glance, this one doesn't look like it's the most important game, but it could very well be a trap game. We have number 5 Georgia Bulldogs going up against fellow Bulldogs, Mississippi State. They're the Bulldogs, right? Yeah, I think. Yeah. Anyway, number 5 Georgia versus 5-4 Mississippi State. Mississippi State's at home. They're going to be bringing out the cowbells. Coaches asking for 60,000 sold out seats with cowbells in everybody's hand. 11 a.m. game. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes for them. But I'm excited to see this one. Maybe an upset brewing. I'll let Cezanne get it started off for us.
I like how you mentioned that, yes, this is the battle of the Bulldogs here. The Georgia Bulldogs coming in at number 5 in the country now, 7-1 on the season. On the road at the Mississippi State Bulldogs, 5-4 on the season. So, they're looking to get bowl eligible with their 6th win of the season. I'm very excited for this matchup because I see two trends on both of these sides. So, on the Georgia side, it's the trend of barely winning your games. Each and every week, we've seen Georgia almost lose to Auburn, almost lose to Florida, almost lose to who else do they play? Just each and every week.
Uh,
Tennessee,
yeah,
you know, should have
Tennessee, Alabama, not Kentucky. Yeah, Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss.
all those games,
Yeah.
like one possession games, and Georgia has just been barely escaping each and every week, keeping their record intact. Well, they're coming into a matchup against a team that's basically doing the opposite this season. Mississippi State is barely losing games each and every week. Texas, a game against Tennessee, LSU, I also believe. Like they just keep
Uh,
lucky, just
yeah, Florida.
Florida. Like it's just been a very unlucky season for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Their record could be a lot better if they would have, been able to edge out some of those games. So they're looking to bounce back. They're trying to salvage their season over there. And the Georgia Bulldogs, we already know what their expectations are. They're trying to get back to the playoff, of course, back to the SEC championship. Georgia has had a gauntlet, and they still have a little bit ahead of them. They have to play Georgia Tech. End of the year, they have to play Texas coming up here in a week or two. So Georgia is on upset watch each and every week because of how they've been playing. Like they are not playing like the Georgia of the past. The offense looks pretty good, but the defense is just the defense is just not there this year. I mean, they lock in those low scoring games like the one against Auburn, but that was another game that if it wasn't for that one call at the goal line, like they might have lost that game. So um Georgia is just looking very suspect in general. And, I expect them to still get back to where they're supposed to be, but it's kind of like, if they drop a game here or there, before the end of the season, like they might be on the brink because just the way they have played this season so far. So Georgia is going to need to be on point the rest of the year. They're going to need to win these games. And they don't have to show up in Atlanta to the SEC championship, but I can't see them losing more than two more games, and then making the playoff because even a 9-3 is going to be interesting. They're going to be on the bubble then, just like Oklahoma and Texas kind of are right now with their two losses. Uh, Lots of implications here for the playoff and also for the SEC championship. Mississippi State's looking to play spoiler. They're looking to ruin Georgia's season, and the cowbells down there are going to be live. So it's supposed to be a sold out crowd. Mississippi State's going to come ready. So uh, I don't know. It could go either way, man. I'm kind of leaning toward an upset, but just the way Georgia is, they're going to find a way to win it just like they always do. So, give me the Georgia Bulldogs in this one, and this is going to be a really close game. I expect it to be like a walk off field goal type game. Might even go to overtime. But what do you think about this one, Tom? Let me swing it over to you.
Yeah, all good points, all true. Three of Mississippi State's 4 losses were all one possession games. And I mean, I can't, let me see. Georgia, 1, 2, 3, four of their wins were only one-score games. And I mean, looking down the line for Georgia, you hope that they are not overlooking this Mississippi State game because they have Texas next week, and then they have their little cushion SEC game at the end of the season against Charlotte. But then they also finish the season off against Georgia Tech. So I'm interested to see how Georgia finishes out. They have them ranked at number 5, which, in my opinion, is kind of crazy because I mean Georgia Tech lost one game and they got booted all the way back to 16th, and just because of who they lost to. But I think this year, a little side note, I think the committee this year isn't necessarily as concerned with barely winning. I think that they look at barely winning as like, oh well, as long as you win. But I think they look at if you lose, like if Georgia loses to Mississippi State, I could see them going from like 5 to like 13 in 1 week. And it just the way the rankings are and how they've kind of treated different teams. Like Oregon is dropped back to number 9, and that's because that they also don't appreciate they don't I guess they don't appreciate wins against bad teams. But for some reason Georgia's number 5. I don't know, it kind of contradicts itself a little bit, but anyway, yeah, I do like Georgia. I think Georgia can handle business, but I do agree with what you said. I don't think it's going to be a double-digit game at any point during this game. Mississippi State, they've been in games week in, week out. Whether they lose by one score or not, it's not like they're not scoring points. They score points every week. Their defense plays. I mean, I guess I can't say their defense plays how they need to because they lose. They've lost 3 out of 4 games to one scores, but like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an overtime game, a walk-off field goal, or a last-minute, 2-minute drive to seal the game, something like that. So again, Georgia probably deservingly so on upset alert this week. Mississippi State, man, reminded me of like Kansas in the Big 12, Nebraska in the Big 10. Just can't seem to get those one-score games under the belt. And if they could, I mean, looking at it, if they could win those one-score games, they would only have one loss, and this game would be looking a lot better, and it would not be at 11 a.m. So that's pretty much all I got to say about this game. I don't know if there's much more to say, but if you have any final thoughts, I'd be happy to hear them.
Not much else for me other than that. I just wanted to talk real quick about the playoff committee, because we saw the first college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday night this week, and now we kind of got a little bit of idea with how the committee is going to be treating these teams this year. And yes, one of my takeaways from seeing the rankings was that the playoff committee is, at least so far, they are valuing the other conferences more than they're valuing the ACC. So like the SEC and the Big Ten are all of them are up there at the top, right? And then you have two Big 12 teams in the top 10 right now, BYU and Texas Tech. So they are valuing the Big 12 and how competitive the Big 12 is. They are not valuing how competitive the ACC is this year, and I was a little not disappointed, but I was a little taken aback by that. I was like, okay, well, BYU's undefeated, but Texas Tech has one loss. All of the ACC teams that are kind of in the picture right now, Louisville, Virginia, Georgia Tech, and, well, Miami has 2 losses, but you also have Pittsburgh in there, 2 losses. All of those teams are 1 loss, 2 losses, like that's a very competitive conference as well. And there's multiple ranked teams in that conference. So, like, why are we not valuing the ACC like we're valuing the Big 12? How come Virginia is not in the top 10 like Texas Tech and BYU are? How come Georgia Tech is all the way down at 16 after losing their first game of the season? Like, that was a little bit interesting for me, but it shows that so far what the committee thinks of the ACC versus the other conferences. So it's going to be really tough for the ACC to get multiple teams in the playoff this year. So like you said, the Georgia game coming up in the final week against Tech, that's going to be a really huge game when it comes to the playoff because there's implications on both sides. So it all starts here with this Mississippi State game, but just another interesting thing to keep in mind as we continue to see the rankings come out from the committee week in and week out until we get to Selection Sunday.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.